Governor Pat Quinn signed into law a bill that will strengthen penalties for the unlawful use of weapons. Mayor Daley thanked the governor and the Illinois General Assembly for supporting the legislation, which was part of the package of common sense gun laws the city proposed in Springfield last session. Here are highlights from the July 19th news conference.
We've often said gun violence is not just a problem here, but Chicago, but it's an American problem. Until we understand that there are reasonable and responsible steps we can take as a nation to end the needless gun violence in our society that irresponsible people bring upon our society. As a city, we must continue to stand up to the gun and drug thugs who terrorize all of our communities. Today, I want to thank the Illinois General Assembly, Eddie Acevedo, Mike Zalewski, Tony Munoz, all the state senators and representatives understanding House Bill 5832. I want to thank Governor Quinn again for his leadership understanding the issue of gun violence in the state of Illinois. This legislation makes aggravated unlawful use of a weapon a non-probational offense if a person is apprehended carrying a loaded weapon without a valid state firearm card. In the history, the judges kept giving everybody probation until they used the gun. And now they realize that the gun itself is a very, very dangerous weapon. It will mean a jail sentence of up to 1 to 3 years. It was one part of a package of common sense gun laws that our cities proposed in Springfield last session. I want to thank Purpose Over Pain, all the families who have lost loved ones who travel to Springfield to educate their state representatives and senators, to go to Washington, D.C., to go to the media and talk about gun violence in America. It's very, very important that you educate people about guns. It reduced the threat of a gun violence by sending a clear message that serious offenders will be held accountable, will not be let off time and time again scot-free, as many of them have been in the past, and there's a great history. We're here at Cole Park today, where Chicago police officer Thomas Wortham was president of the advisory council. His family's here, his mother and father and sister. One of the men involved in shooting and killing Officer Wortham 2 months ago was out on probation after being convicted of an aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. Now think of that. This law protects the rights of law-abiding citizens, but also gives us another tool to combat violence in our communities and protect all of our children. Remember, there are more than 270 million privately owned firearms in the United States of America. I want to repeat that. 270 million owned firearms, and those are legal ones. We don't know what the illegal ones are. In an average year, more than 100,000 people in America are shot or killed with a gun. There are more than 3,000 of these victims are children and teenagers. I'm proud that instead of accepting the violence and the gang thugs and drug dealers who are behind most of it, all of us are trying to stand up in Illinois to what we see on a daily basis. We all support the Second Amendment and responsible adults who legitimately want a gun in their home for self-defense. But at the same time, we're trying to keep weapons out of the hands of gangbangers and drug dealers who bring violence to our communities. People support efforts like those we pursued in Springfield to enact reasonable and common sense gun laws. Despite strong opposition from the gun industry, and it comes from the gun industry, we've had several important victories. Within the last 2 years, in addition to the bill we're talking about, we were able to pass a new state law that requires mandatory minimum jail time for gang members caught with illegal guns, a new state law that increases penalties for shooting students on or near school grounds, on or near public transit system. Working with the legislature and the governor's state of Illinois, we have created a new interstate gun trafficking task force to address the trafficking of illegal guns into Illinois. They continue to flow into the state of Illinois, and they usually come to major metropolitan areas, not only Chicago, but Waukegan, Rockford, Springfield, other places. Common sense gun laws that keep weapons out of the hands of those who shouldn't have them, hold manufacturers and gun dealers and gun owners to higher standards, can both support the Second Amendment and protect us. And that is why I want everyone to understand that even with this new law and our city's new gun ordinance, we will continue to pursue every avenue that reduces the chance of violence involving a handgun or any other weapon in Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Governor.
We are now joined by the head of the state of Illinois, and it is a great honor for him to be here at Cole Park. We invite him to come back again also. And with that, I'm going to introduce to my community, for those who have not met him before, Pat Quinn, the governor of the state of Illinois.
Okay. Thank you. Ready? Thank you. Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. I was born on the south side of Chicago at 7435 South Shore Drive, and I live on the west side of Chicago now in Austin. And whatever side of Chicago you live in, or whatever side of Illinois you live in, this is an important day. There is a passage in Scripture that says, if you save one life, you save the whole world. And by signing this legislation today, we intend to save lives and protect lives. We've had a heartbreaking summer. Just last week, at the funeral of Thor Soderberg, his widow is here today. Thank you for coming, Jennifer. We so much appreciate your service to all of us in the school district and your beloved husband's service to all of us. And also with us today is Thomas Wortham's family. Thomas Wortham, what a patriot. Served 2 tours of duty in Iraq, volunteered for our National Guard, also volunteered to join the police force. His dad was a policeman, retired policeman. And I was at his funeral, Thomas Wortham's funeral, and talk about an all-American hero. He was here at this very park, and he saw the need to have leadership. So he volunteered to be the president of the Park Advisory Board, to make sure we had opportunities, endeavors, things for kids to do to keep out of trouble. And I do want to thank Alderman Lyle and all the aldermen here who work so hard in their wards to have opportunities for young people in particular to be positive and productive. After school really matters. And I want to thank the mayor's wife, Maggie, for her devoted commitment to after-school programs. We've got to make sure that we keep our kids on the right track. We cannot allow violence, the epidemic of violence, to overcome us. And I think yesterday's events, woke us all up that we must double our efforts to make sure that we, law-abiding citizens all across Illinois, we do prevail. We cannot have our police officers who serve in the military, who go to places like Iraq, where I was this very day a year ago, the dangerous streets of Iraq. They come home and they face even greater danger in our own state of Illinois. So we must enact laws and initiate programs and bond together in the best traditions of Abraham Lincoln's democracy so that we do prevail over the gangbangers and the thugs who think they can use weapons and guns to erase human life and to cause great chaos in our law-abiding society. This is our number one objective, public safety. And it's so inspiring to see so many people who have committed themselves to this goal. They believe in it. We all believe in it. We must work together. We do believe in government of the people. And when the people band together, there's no more powerful force on earth. And so I'm here today on behalf of our whole state of Illinois, 13 million people, that we will not let the thugs and the murderers get away with this. We're going to stand up to this evil and make sure we get law and order and public safety the way it ought to be in this state and every state in the United States of America. Thank you very much.